This video describes building of a steam plant in April and May 2024. The steam plant deviated from my original plan quite significantly, as described in the video. The steam plant started with one I bought off an auction site for a reasonable price. The plant had a Babcock-style boiler, Stuart S50 horizontal mill engine, another horizontal mill engine that I later repurposed, and a hand pump for filling the boiler. There's a link to the repurposing of the second mill engine below. The steam plant was in decent shape when I received it. However, I decided to redesign the plant and add a feed water tank, condenser and feed water heater, and add a boiler feed pump. I also decided to upgrade the boiler to run on butane and add a gas tank to run a new burner. The final steam plant would have a Stuart 501 boiler, Stuart 10V vertical engine, and a Stuart S50 horizontal mill engine. I made a baseboard from 3/4-inch plywood, veneered with mahogany planks, with sufficient space to add the new parts of the plant. The original metal baseboard would still be used, as shown on the right-hand side photo. This photo shows a commercial gas tank mounted on the left of the base. The center tank is the feed water tank that I made from an aluminum pot. I mounted the feed water tank on stands with a brass base and added bushes for a sight glass, feed water supply, and feed water return. On the right is the steam turret, made from brass metal stock and commercial valves. These photos show the butane burner installed on the base. I made angle brackets from brass angle stock that would hold the burner off the base and clamp it in place. I installed the gas pipe from the tank to the burner, which includes the fuel nozzle. I put sufficient slack into the pipe to allow me to adjust the fuel nozzle to get the right flame. The butane is the type used on camping burners and is a butane and propane blend. This photo shows the layout of other steam plant components. The position of the condenser feed water heater tank is on the upper right, and the exhaust manifold is on the bottom right. The smaller brass base, in the middle of the photo, was the original position of the steam boiler feed pump. I later changed this, as shown on future slides. After mounting the boiler on the base, I started piping the steam plant. I also mounted the engines on the baseboard. Moving from right to left are a Stuart 10V vertical steam engine, 6-inch Southworth boiler feed pump, and a Stuart S50 horizontal mill engine. At this stage, the layout of the plant was starting to look very good. These photos show progression of the piping for the steam plant. Any steam piping was insulated by wrapping butcher's string around the pipe, holding it in place with superglue, and painting the string with acrylic paint. This simulates how steam pipes were insulated in the early days of steam power. The insulation also protects me from burns if I touch the hot piping. These photos show the condenser and feed water heater being made. Water pumped from the feed water tank passes through the tube coil before it enters the boiler. Steam from the exhausts of the steam engines pass through the vessel. Any heat left in the steam heats the boiler feed water, and the colder feed water helps to condense the steam. Any remaining steam is piped to the boiler stack to be released to atmosphere. Once the steam side piping was complete, it was time for an air test of the plant. I accomplished this by connecting an air line to the safety valve bush on the boiler and pressurizing the boiler with air. The air would then run through the steam turret to the engines on the plant. This tested the engines and made sure the steam piping was leak-free. Here's a video of the air test. The engines ran very well, and the steam system had no leaks. The air test was successful. After the initial air test, I continued and completed the steam plant mechanically. I added the feed water and exhaust piping, sight glasses and drains to the feed water tank and feed water heater, and made final adjustments before the first steam test. Here's a video of the steam test. The test itself was only partially successful. The 6-inch Southworth feed pump would not run continuously. As it was running, I noticed that the boiler steam pressure would drop. This indicated that the boiler wasn't sufficient to run all 3 engines. I decided to change the boiler feed pump for a hand pump. This is shown in the bottom left of the photo. With this modification complete, it was time for another test run of the steam plant on steam. Here's the final test run of the steam plant. I'm very happy with its performance, and I've run the plant several times since. Thank you for watching this video. Please like and subscribe to support my channel and my model engineering journey.